Welcome back to Xollob Nation. Stop your laughing.
I'm sorry.
All right, Bill. So how are you, buddy?
I'm very good, actually. Life has been quite nice. The weather has been great. I went swimming. Well, flapping, or whatever you call it, floating.
Irish boys don't swim, Bill.
No, I know. No, we certainly don't. But we do like being in the water when it's 30 degrees and the only way to save yourself is with cold Atlantic wave water. So, yeah, I that's what I did this weekend.
And was it cold? Where were you?
I was down in a place called Cornucopia where my kids live, and they have it's basically their back garden. It's called Broad Strand, and it's like a 10-minute walk down from the garden.
Beautiful.
And it's absolutely fabulous. But there's rarely waves there, but this weekend the waves were beautifully like high, kind of not dangerous, but.
Did you get a surfboard, Bill? Did you buy a surfboard? I did,
yeah.
Brilliant.
My young fella is determined to teach me windsurfing because he's mad into windsurfing now. And yeah, I got the whole chapter and verse about windsurfing.
Oh, Bill, I've been.
Have you tried it?
I have, and to all our listeners, I took you up the mountain trying to teach you how to ski. Oh, Jesus.
So you reckon
it's not for you, Bill.
It's a similar buzz to the old skiing. I thought it'd like just stand and hold and let the wind do the work.
No, skiing is hard. Snowboarding is hard. Windsurfing is fucking properly hard.
Oh, God.
And I've seen you on a pair of skis.
Ah, come on. I used to be good. It was just, my...
What? You were good back in the fucking, in the 70s?
Yeah, no, I was good when I was in my 30s. Like, the 20 years haven't been good to me,
I have never seen anyone so pathetic on a pair of skis.
Oh, I was pretty bad, all right. And I was so disappointed in myself.
I
was awful, I know. And I was so disappointed in myself. I was in a depression for a month after coming home from that holiday.
You don't suffer from depression. Look at the head.
Well, I know, but,
But anyway, right, I was depressed looking at you. But anyway. I've got over it. It took me 2 years probably. But anyway, right, so Bill, so this week I was thinking, you've one or two stories.
I do.
I have a couple of stories there on some kind of AI, not AI. I don't want to make it all about AI, but some kind of quirky tech stories. Then I would like to talk about a bit of sports because it's an orgy of sports. Can we say that?
You can say whatever you like, Dan. It's a free country or a free world.
Bill, I know your English is a lot better than mine, right?
Well,
so what do we call it? What would be the word for it?
You could call it a cornucopia because that's a whole load of bursting forth flowers. A cornucopia of sport, which is a bit of a cliche now because it's used all the time. But you could say
first time I ever heard that word. Comment, listeners, if you've ever heard that word, right?
Cornucopia.
Jesus. Yeah. And how would you spell it? No, we'll put you under the test.
Cornucopia.
Okay,
it's fairly straightforward. It spells like it sounds. Like the way English sometimes, like knowledge. You don't start knowledge with a K. You start it with knob. Yeah, when you call somebody a knob, you don't actually remember it starts with a K. You kind of go knob with a.
This is so informational to our listeners. Do not spell. If you write a bit of graffiti for all our younger listeners, if you're on the on the wall behind the gymnasium in your school, the correct spelling of knob begins with a K.
Exactly. Thank you.
We should end the episode there, Bill. Right? We've done so
much. We've done our duty to those graffiti artists out there. We have. Knob.
All right, Bill, enough of your bullshit, right? Okay, do you have a little story for us?
I do. Well, it's not really a story. It's more about, speaking of swimming, Spermageddon, right? Or little swimmers. Apparently, the world claims it's facing a male reproductive crisis because sperm levels have been reduced by 50% over the last 50 years. That's over half a century, they reckon. But half a century ago, were they collecting jizz from all and sundry? I don't know. But anyway, what they're saying, right, is that testosterone has declined. They've been doing tests since the 1950s about the quality of sperm in people's, well, squirt, whatever you call it. I know, but yeah, exactly. It's natural, it's healthy. Even the US Health Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a very respected, knowledgeable doctor of codology that he is, Dr. Robert F. Kennedy, claims it's an existential crisis. And basically, they're seizing on this notion that sperm counts could hit 0 by 2045. And when that happens, sayonara, baby, the world is over.
I've heard that as well, though. There's a podcast I listened to, Diary of a CEO, and he had some guy on there, and in fairness, I was listening to that as well, right? And it was like, my God.
Yeah, and of course, you would be freaked out. But what's happening is, in many cases, is that the tests that they're doing are from the 1950s, and they're not as nuanced as the tests that they can do now. And there's an awful lot more obesity from the 1950s. So basically, from the 1950s, they had a very kind of basic way of counting sperm, but and they couldn't even really see was a quality sperm or not. So the volume of sperm was probably a lot more. But what's happening is
that must be a great job, counting sperm.
I know. Wouldn't you love? Wouldn't two?
Will you slow down there? Jesus Christ. I've got up to 1,000. Will you, is there more of them?
Oh, he's going again. Sorry. No, but essentially the problem is that people are eating, they're probably doing tests on white Americans, right? And they're eating McDonald's probably regularly. What happens is that the obesity and
other burger joints
are also available. Indeed, yes, Burger King and Wendy's. We have a Wendy's in Cork there, a new Wendy's in Cork. But
our new sponsor, Wendy's. For the man who's low on sperm, go to Wendy's.
Go to Wendy's. It will speed it up by 50%. That's all you need. So basically, it's because people are eating, and they say that, it's related to plastics and all the rest, but plastic is doesn't actually have an effect on sperm, because they did tests on rats and rat testicles. How could you get a job testing rat testicles with plastic? Jesus Christ.
Jesus, Bill.
I know. But essentially, the plastic it didn't do anything to it. There was no, even though they were able to put microplastic into the testicle, and it just didn't do anything. So people shouldn't be worried, because if you're taking...
But what about testosterone, right? Because...
That's what I was getting to. Because according to this article, the thing is...
Well, get on with this. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But what they're doing, the influencers and the podcasters and the macho men
We're
out
podcasters. We're podcasters. So are we correcting it?
No, we're kind of counter-arguing. We're counter-arguing. Calm down, boys. Calm down. But if you're supplementing yourself with testosterone and you haven't actually checked your actual testosterone level,
but how do you test?
You go to the doctor. You go to the doctor.
Who goes to the doctor? Who goes to the doctor?
I know. And doctors, they're just part of the system, man. Is
there a home test, right? So I'm 60, right? How would I check?
I'm sure there is.
How would I check my testosterone level?
I could say something here, but we would be absolutely cancelled if I said that. But no, look, the thing is, you go to your doctor and you get a testosterone test. Come on. It's fucking basics, really. But you can't. They don't have, well, they may do, obviously. But it could be It could be some crowd in China pretending that this is a testosterone test, and all tests come back as you have low testosterone. We will also sell you testosterone. You know what I mean? So people are actually being suckered into buying more testosterone.
No, but is there a test? Is there a test for example, after 5 glasses of whiskey, I love to punch fellas, right? So does that mean my testosterone level is at a healthy level?
No, your whiskey level is at a healthy level. That's the healthy level. But it's not about like the amount of testosterone. It's about the testosterone for your body. And the thing is, if you take more testosterone than you make naturally for yourself, you're causing damage to your testicles and your sperm count.
But how would a fella know that he needs to go to the doctor? So take me now as a use case, Billy. Right? I'm 6 years of age. Should I go down to the doctor and like? But I have to show up to the doctor with a couple of symptoms, right?
No, you don't. You can go in and say, I'd like a test for X, Y, and Z. And you could say, okay, I need a, what's it called? Do you know the thing up the bum? What do they call that? Not progesterone. Do you know where they stick the finger up?
Prostate cancer.
Prostate, exactly. At our age, we need to get it sorted. Prostate cancer, get it sorted. So you just go in and say, look, I'm worried about this. And it just doesn't mean that you have a symptom. You can just be worried about it because you've been reading online, and the doctor raises his eyes and goes, oh my God, Dr. Google. But he will test you if you ask him and say, listen, I need to know about my testosterone level. And he goes,
it's incredible the way this podcast has evolved. We are now giving medical advice to the listeners.
Jesus Christ.
You know the way in some podcasts, right, they say, this is not financial advice, right? This is not medical advice coming from Dr. Bill. Bill is not a medical doctor, right?
No.
There is a medical doctor in the family, right?
There is, in fairness, yeah. And we could bring her on. And we have had her on the show before, but she's rather talk about...
Yeah, but will we get our sister on to talk about putting fingers up fellas' arses to test about? I don't know. Anyway. So, it's a podcaster influence stuff. Go get yourself checked out if you have any concerns.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not medical advice.
But
Dr. Bill is not a real doctor.
I'm not at all. I'm a bullshit doctor or whatever. Doctor of codology. That's what I am. A doctor of codology.
Anything else you found interesting during the week, Bill?
Well, there was that bit about Victoria Beckham. I know you found it very boring, this rich woman being nonchalant.
A bit boring, Bill.
I thought it was kind of funny that all the lads in that picture were all up in the arms because, you know, what's his name scored. And there were a lot of the women just going, blah, 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 blah. And she was absolutely stony-faced in that picture that whoever captured it on the that went. And it's become a kind of a meme. Absolute, what did she say? Supremely unbothered. I'm supremely unbothered by that. So, yeah, it was brilliant. I thought it was excellent, you know. And fair play to her. You don't have to be a football fan just because you come from the UK. That was it. League Slip are expanding in, what's his name? I always think of Dave when I hear our brother Dave, when I hear of Intel shares. They're pumping in another 5 million into the economy in Ireland. 5 billion, I should say. Billion. The mind your millions. 5 billion. They're expanding into AI. There we go.
So you've gone from Posh Spice, Victoria, to Intel shares. Bill.
I know. As I say, this is not a financial or a medical or a gossip podcast. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Perfect. Thank you, Bill.
So, you had some stuff there you were saying.
Yeah, I said, do you know what? There's a couple of interesting little tech stories that I found interesting. No, maybe I'm the only one, right?
You are a bit of a techie, but you do find some good ones. All right, in fairness, you're on the edge there.
Have you ever been to Estonia?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
Once, yes.
Right, I'm impressed. yeah.
A stag-do, would you believe?
No, if that was the same stag-do I was on, our brother stag-do, that was Lithuania. You
Oh,
toured.
well. I'm sorry. No. It
It
was
was.
Tallinn in Estonia. That's where we were. Lithuania is where my...
No, we weren't. We weren't in Estonia.
What's
We
the
were
other...
in
What's
Riga.
Riga. But that's not Lithuania either then.
It is.
Okay, you've got Tallinn, Riga. No, what are the three countries? You've got Estonia,
Lithuania,
Latvia.
Latvia.
So
We
we were in
weren't in
Latvia.
Latvia. No, we weren't in Latvia.
Okay, we need to call Dennis. Dennis, where was your stag? No, okay.
Oh,
well,
it
look,
was-
anyway.
oh, it was Dennis. Anyway, and it was a Jesus. It was a tough old stag. In fairness,
That was
I
heavy
wasn't-
going.
I was grey in the face for about 3 weeks after that, right? But
Oh.
anyway, it's Estonia.
Estonia, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So you were never in Estonia. I
Okay.
was. I was in Tallinn, a nice spot in fairness, right? But so the story behind it is it's about law, and there was a missing phrase that reportedly cost Estonia 24 million.
What?
So the country responded in the most Estonian way possible. It built an AI to check the law for bugs. So there was an error in Estonia's Gambling Tax Act, left online games of chance outside part of the tax wording. The mistake reportedly left online casinos effectively untaxed for about a year,
Not bad.
with the loss estimated at 24 million euros. And that comes from an article I saw on Wired. Lucas Ilves, a former senior government technology official, then he vibe coded. Do you know what vibe coding is?
I have no idea, no.
It's basically you open up a ChatGPT, you write a prompt, build me an application to look at the tax codes, etc., blah, 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 and it builds you an application.
Oh my, just like that.
Well, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
a big fan of the term, but I'm not going to bore our listeners with it. Right?
Okay.
I prefer the word context engineering. But anyway,
Right, yes, I've heard
so
that too.
he then basically used AI to build a tool to scan the draft legislation, and you can do that. It looks for broken references, contradictions, bad maths, and impossible dates. The nickname being used in coverage is the fuck up finder.
I like it. I do like it.
In other words, Estonia has started treating national law like software. Before it builds ships, run what they call the linter. Now, linter in software terms means where it actually checks the piece of software for any anomalies.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah. So it's checking the dependencies, make sure democracy still compiles. Compiling is where you write some code, needs to compile before it becomes executable. So taking a piece of legal documentation,
Yeah.
but running kind of a test over it before.
That's
I think it's very clever.
bloody brilliant. That fair play to them.
You
Like.
know what? And I think I'd get rid of the government. I'd get OpenAI or I don't know, chat. Well, the LLM, large language model of your choice to basically run your country, because it definitely can't do a worse job.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
The clever part is not that AI is writing the law. It is being asked to find the kind of boring mistake that humans skim past.
Of course they do, because the human mind is not great at detail, really. We love the bigger picture. That's why we like open, expansive stories, but we kind of jump past the kind of the plot hole. How did that spaceship ever get to warp speed 10? I mean, come on, who engineered that? It's impossible. Like, so, you know.
Sure. Points of discussion, Billy.
Okay.
Now, I know you don't use AI at all.
Not at all.
Why?
I just can't be bothered. Like in my work, I don't need AI, and in my downtime, I've played with it, but I don't. I use my own creativity, and I want to get what's inside in my brain out. I don't want something to give me the creativity. I want to push the creativity in my head out to other poor suckers. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
So, question for you, right?
Okay.
Based on this, right, should every parliament have a bug tracker and release notes? So if there's a new piece of legal documentation in terms of the government, should we get AI to basically do
a
checks
quick,
on it?
of course, because that is what what you call them, the Department of, we'll say, Social Protection. That's what the staff is supposed to do in the civil service. They're supposed to run through the legislation that's being proposed and say, okay, does this work?
But in terms then of who owns the mistake, right? Is it, so if there is a mistake, so imagine the AI checks it, right? Then afterwards,
Yeah.
even if the AI doesn't get it right, so whose fault is it afterwards then? Is it the AI model, the programmer, or the minister?
Ooh, but you see, I'd be willing to bet money that the AI will not be wrong. The AI will find, because that's what the AI is the best at, finding.
It does make mistakes.
I know it hallucinates and that sort of stuff. Yeah, but that's coding by the crowd who are selling the fucking AI. Sorry, the AI. You know, that they put it in to make it more attractive to deal with, the ChatGPT. But that's a mistake. But like, proper AI should be just a tool, not a personality. You know, like, fuck up checker should not have a personality.
Next, what I want to talk about. Have you heard of Meta's smart glasses? You know, the Ray-Bans?
I have.
Okay.
And I love Ray-Ban, the design, and I love the shape of those sunglasses. I have a pair of Ray-Bans. Well, they're just normal Ray-Bans. I have two pairs, actually. And I have those dark ones, and they're great. I love them, but I do not want to have a camera sucking up information from wherever I go. I just, forget it. Why, like? How do I... yeah, anyway, go on, yeah.
So the thing about those, I mean, they've been a huge success. And I probably think that Apple are going to release something
similar
to compete. Like typical Apple, they wait to see kind of what's happening. I mean, they did go with their Vision Pros, which were basically, it was like wearing a ski mask.
Yeah, I remember those actually. And like, yeah, that's the virtual reality kind of a thing. There was about 20 grand for a fucking, anyway, yeah.
But it was actually 19,900 something. But anyway, right?
One,
so this is basically saying there's become a kind of an industry where when the glasses are recording, there's a little white LED light showing that it kind of changes color, but it just shows that it's kind of recording.
There's recording.
And I remember the first one that came out was something called Google Glass, where they had them.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I remember that. That didn't kick off at all, Google Glass.
No, because there was fellas getting their heads boxed off, right, when they were inside in pubs or bars, whatever, right? And then you'd see a fella with the Google Glass on, and it was recording, right? So it
became too obvious that this fella is fucking following you, recording.
It's kind of crossing the line, right, where people don't really want to be recorded in
the sex parlour,
places.
like.
Well, not the sex parlour even. We don't have to go that extreme, Bill.
That was just the top of my head, like, you know. That's where I would definitely not want to be recorded. Not that I've ever been to a sex parlour, but anyway, in general.
Just in general, people don't like to be recorded.
No, I hate it myself.
And that's why the little LED comes on, right? But then there's become a bit of a cottage industry where for €100, people can actually disable the LED and kind of record in secret. And what Meta have done is they have noticed that, and what they're doing then is they're disabling the software in the device because it was tampered with. So, my question to you is, right? Does a recording light meaningfully protect privacy, or does it merely create the appearance of consent?
Oh, that is a tricky one. Ooh, we should have some legal experts on side here. But if it's obvious that you're being recorded, and the obvious meaning the light,
I think you should. I think it should be obvious that somebody's recording with a light. Like if someone has a camera, you can see the light. No?
yeah, absolutely, and that's what I was trying to get. That's what I was getting to, because if you can see and people understand the what's it called, the standard, where look, when you see that light, the whole kind of world knows that that's a recording moment, and then you can kind of go, no, I don't want to be recorded or whatever. Then you don't have to give permission, or you just walk out of frame, or you get them to stop recording or whatever. You fucking beat the head off him, like, you know.
Beat the head off him.
Or
But
if it's disabled, then it's an illegal recording and you cannot use it.
No, but you can, and I see this on YouTube, right? So you can record anything in public spaces. You have the right to
Is
record.
that global? Is that global, though? I know it's in America, do you know, the way you'd see these YouTube videos coming up and going to the police going, I can record wherever I want, and, you know, the usual shit.
Well, I'm not sure what it's like in Iran, for example.
Well, we can, yeah. I doubt you get away with much in Iran, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, other countries.
Other
may
countries.
apply as well.
There are other despot countries in the world to choose from.
Exactly, right? So that's the first thing, right? But the second thing is, right? So the fact that you've bought these glasses, so if you buy one of these connected devices,
Okay.
do you own it, or are you licensing the manufacturer's rules? So basically, Meta have taken the decision that if you tamper with it, that they have the right to actually disable the software because you've disabled the device. But the fact that you actually bought it, you own it, you should be able to change it.
It's like buying a record, a digital version of a record, and you store it on the cloud, and then like they go out of business, and then they just wipe all. Yeah, it's that same story. If you own it, then you're entitled to own it in its entirety. But do you own the software that you have to connect in order to back up your stuff? All the backup stuff, you know.
No, it's not even backup, right? But the fact that you have taken, you've bought a hardware device, and then you've actually made some changes to it by disabling the LED light, right? Then does the company then have the right to actually change the way it was
intended,
sold to you, right? No, I get it, right? If you took a screwdriver and drilled out the light, and then if you then send it back to them and say it's broken, but what they're actively doing is they're detecting that you've disabled the LED light, and then they're deactivating its functionality, which you actually bought. So that piece.
So
right,
yeah, I get you.
My point of view is, if somebody sells you something, and fair enough, if you start tinkering with it, taking the back off it, whatever, and you break it, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not
going to get your money back. Yeah.
But I don't want them to be actively detecting that you've made a change to it and then disabling it.
And then they have devalued the product to just a bit of plastic. I agree with you, Dan. I think it's because like you can buy a TV or whatever, and if it doesn't work, you can bring it back and get a replacement or get your money back. But if they're actively disabling a product, a physical product, with software backup or whatever. What I mean by backup is like, you know, the fact that the video has to go through the cloud, or it has to go through a wireless network and onto some server somewhere. Like, they're not entitled to do that, I don't think. But they're Meta, and they're billionaires, and they can just do whatever the fuck they like.
No, they can't do whatever they want, right? No, the next thing, Bill, is did you ever see an elephant?
I have, actually. Yeah. Pink elephants after a lot of drink. Oh, man, pink elephant. Like, no, sorry. I have seen real elephants in a zoo, like, yeah.
In a zoo, very good, right? So, so this one, I thought this one was funny, right? Where is it, right? So, so in India, they've decided now they're going to use robot elephants. So basically, right, and the robot elephant, it can flap its ears, which I think is...
Yeah, it's...
You expect your elephant to flap its ears.
You kind of would, like.
It can swish its tail.
Yeah, it's like about 4 little animatronic things that will make it swish its tail nicely. Yeah, yeah.
I think this is impressive. It sprays water from its trunk.
Okay, a fucking hose, like.
But the only thing this temple elephant can't do is walk. I'd be expecting
a crippled robotic elephant. Oh, God,
so it's in temples in Kerala and Karnataka are adopting life-size robotic elephants made from fiberglass, iron, and rubber, and electric motors move their ears, eyes, tails, and trunks. Animal welfare groups have helped donate the machines to temples that agree not to use live elephants.
I suppose because the elephants were trapped there or tied up to the temple and people would, yeah, okay. Oh, sure. Look, the Indians they're great for it, like throwing things together out of a piece of cardboard and a lump of aluminium. Like, yeah, they're unbelievable.
So the point of discussion, right, would be, right, because so in Indian culture, as far as I know, right, they're quite religious
connotations to animals.
So basically, so the question would be to you, right? Can a robot hold genuine religious or ceremonial meaning?
Yeah, of course it can, because the people who are in the temple are putting the ceremonial meaning. You can put ceremonial meaning on anything, like.
Yeah, but it's not a real
elephant. Oh, well, if it's not a real elephant, then is the ceremony even real at all? I mean, is the god that they're worshipping even real because it's a fake elephant? Like,
no, yeah, but I mean, yeah, but you'd be a bit. I mean, you wouldn't be 100% down Catholic, right? So
no, I wouldn't be very staunch. No, like but
you wouldn't be.
No, but like. Sure, as I always say, each to their own. And if you think it's true, then that's your belief. It may not be true, but that is your belief. And you're perfectly entitled to hold that belief. But don't make me believe that that's a real elephant.
But sure, if we're living in a simulation, maybe it is. Anyway, right, the other one is, right? So think about this, right? What other uses of live animals could be replaced by convincing machines? You like cats, do you? Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Yeah, I like them both. I'm very fond of both species, actually. I like cats for who they are, or who they pretend to be. I like dogs because they're just completely dope.
But if you had a proper, realistic, robotic cat or a dog that didn't shite.
No. I'd have no interest in that. No, I wouldn't. I'll tell you what could be replaced. Fox hunting. You could get a very realistic fox to run all over the place and you could be chasing it on horses and it'd be a right challenge. And of course...
okay.
You know,
yeah, but that's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Or even racing, coursing.
But is the pleasure actually killing a live animal?
No, most fox hunters they prefer not to actually kill the fox at the end, but they have no control over the dogs, and the dogs will trap and corner the fox, and they can't stop the fucking hound of dogs or hounds from killing the fox. So
but foxes are free. Are you going to be buying your electronic fox from China?
Yeah, you are, because live fox hunting has been banned in the UK. And the only reason, it hasn't been banned fully in Ireland yet. And they're trying to have it banned. But a lot of fox hunters come to Ireland every year to join the fox hunting that goes on in Ireland. There's a number of hunts that goes on, and they're live hunts. And it's a big industry.
Very good. So with all of the little subjects that I was doing, Bill, this is the worst song now. So apologies to all our listeners, right? I think this is the worst song, right? So I decided to take some of the themes from what I was talking about and get our AI, Suno.com. They should be sponsoring us, actually.
They're a great tune, yeah.
But to actually build a tune, right, for Xollob Nation, right? So there's a bit of Xollob Nation in it. Now, I think this is actually the worst song we've ever built. But anyway.
By the way, quick question, though, before we get into that. Have we released all our songs on Spotify? And are we getting any listeners to the actual songs?
Bill, I'm a busy man, right? So I haven't done that yet.
Okay, I'll look into that for you, so Dan. Yeah, as your deputy. Your deputy.
I love it. You're the ideas man, and I'm the poor old bastard who has to actually go and actually do it. Fair enough.
I know, yeah, I know.
That's the way
anyway,
right.
Let's proceed. Listen to the worst song.
For it, right? The worst song ever we've done.
Jesus.
It is bad.
Did you see the robot last night? I didn't see it, no. It tried to open the door and fell over. Really?
Fell over.
Did you see that old lady? Which one? The one who got her neck stuck in a VR headset? How did that happen?
No idea how the old lady got involved.
Use tech. Tell me about it. The robots are rising, but they haven't risen yet. They still need their hands held so they don't fall off the edge. The humans are losing all the marbles in their heads now. Even stranger than fiction.
Oh, it's bad.
That's me. Welcome to Xollob Nation, where the future's lost the plot. Machines are getting smarter.
I like it.
Xollob Nation is getting.
Xollob Nation. Welcome to Xollob Nation.
The Xollob Nation.
Machines are getting smarter, but apparently not a lot. Welcome to Xollob Nation.
Oh, it's proper shice. I'm sorry, that's.
Did you hear about that algorithm? Which one? The one that turns someone's wife into a potato. How to do that? Apparently.
Oh, very misogynistic.
Very.
180 degrees. Wow. What did the husband say? He said, I didn't know you could do the splits. Did you
Oh.
What about it? They told it to take off and it dove into the sky. I suppose it was just following instructions. Welcome to Xollob
Nation.
where the future's lost the plot. Machines are getting smarter, but apparently not a lot.
And neither are the humans.
Xollob Nation.
Yeah,
Follow, like, and subscribe.
very much so.
This is Xollob Nation. In today's news, an old lady's cat turned into a laser printer. Some strange device that makes dogs go to the toilet has been invented. A monkey managed to drive a plane. It crashed into a house. Back to you. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's still going. Fucking hell. Yeah.
That is bad.
That is
That
bad.
is bad. No.
But it's like, do you know what it's like? It's like one of these like B movies, kind of something that they just produce just to make money on Netflix or something like that, you know, and that would be the theme tune for it. Like, oh my God.
No. So that's it, Bill. Another episode. Anything to say before you say goodbye to us?
I enjoy that immensely, actually, Dan. I enjoy talking about all that mad stuff that we were talking about. Like, you know, it's brilliant. But we never did the sports section.
Oh, we never
Or
did the sports section.
a cornucopia of sport. Maybe we'll devote it next week to.
Yeah, the sport, right? Tour de France, bloody hell. Those lads, because it is hot here. How those lads are up on those bikes. But you're, what's his name? Ted Edge. I can never pronounce Pogacar. Huh?
Yeah.
And England, my God, against Argentina.
I know. Well, I can't wait to see it. The hand
There'll
of
be
God
tears.
will come back out. It really will. The hand of God, like.
There'll be tears, the poor old. And I've loads of English pals, but
I know. And do you
so
know,
there'll be tears.
as an
then-
Irish fella, like, I have to say, I wouldn't mind seeing them.
I wouldn't mind either then, but then you have to be listening to the fuckers for the next.
I know. And it's not them,
That's
it's their
it.
fucking newspapers.
It's them as well. No.
I suppose, yeah. But
But
yeah, go
anyway,
on.
sorry,
yeah, no,
apologies to all our English listeners.
English.
British,
yes, indeed.
British English.
No,
No,
English, actually. It's England, yeah, it is England, yeah.
The Welsh and Scottish lads wouldn't be.
No,
shouldn't
I
for
know. They wouldn't, actually, yeah. No, in
But
fairness.
anyway, right. And then what other sport did we have?
Well, we had the tennis.
the rugby.
And like, I haven't even seen a rugby match because...
Oh, I watched it Saturday. I'd be opening the cans at 6:30 in the morning. Right, for the game. It's all day. There's about 6 games. Great crack.
Great crack. Yeah. And Ireland,
Great games.
Ireland were playing Japan, weren't they, recently?
We had our B team out. Right, but
Yeah, and we did beat them, but it was a struggle, apparently.
it was a bit of a struggle, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you see, in fairness, it was a great game. South Africa, Scotland. Fair play to Scotland. Bloody hell, they're
Jeez,
good.
yeah,
but, But no one's beaten South Africa.
I know. They've had a run of about 3 years now, and they are hardcore.
They're absolutely different. And I do love their manager, Rassi.
Okay.
He's a real character. But no, yeah. But and then France are brilliant as well.
And
yeah, it's South Africa and France, and those. Yeah, in fairness, the French.
The French, God, yes, yeah, I know.
They'll win the World Cup. They'll win
At the rate they're going, they may do, because they have a very strong team. Like, they're good all round. They have a good back line, like the soccer, like. But and also the French rugby team as well. Like, Jesus, they're fucking
You're some
amazing.
bullshitter. You haven't a fucking clue.
I
You
do.
haven't watched.
No, well, not this
I
time.
apologise.
But I was watching, like, I have been watching highlights, like, just like,
Yeah. Anyway,
come on.
Anyway, Bill,
Come on.
thank you very much. Our little sports section at the end, right?
I know,
And listeners, right? He's not a doctor and he knows fuck all about sports. So I just
Yeah, but I have a
to be
good
out there.
vocabulary. I have a good vocabulary.
You have a great vocabulary, right? Bill, I love you.
Love you
Talk
too,
to you
Dan.
again next
Yeah.
week. And what do we say?
Follow, like, and subscribe. And
Hit the notification bell. Simon.
Yeah,
You're
and-
supposed to say that as well.
hit the notification and comment. Like, disagree.
Yeah, comments. We get no comments, but anyway, sure.
No, sure. Yeah.
Our listeners are very shy.
They're, do you know what? They agree with everything we're saying. So why should they comment? I agree with you. You know?
Take care.
Take care, guys. See ya. Bye.
Bye.